Alright, welcome back to another Art of War 3 replay. I'm your host, John Cena, and today we're going to be doing a clan 2v2 battle. I'm going to be the blue Confederate player, and my ally Bullet 82 MK2 is going to be the green Confederate player. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to be facing off against two pretty strong resistance players from the GROM clan. And we can see that I'm going for HQ3, got quite a few supply centers out. We can see that the red player is also HQ3. We see double assault vehicle factories, couple sniper towers, so very nice base development from the red player. So let's get a scout onto yellow. Yellow is already going for HQ4 here. We see two special vehicle factories, two assault vehicle factories. So we are right now suspecting that yellow is going to go for a mass JCP build. My plan is to go for the ground army, while Bullet goes for the aviation. So we can see that I'm starting to get a combination of tanks and torrents and typhoons out. And look at that, I got another scout onto yellow, and yellow has actually changed strategies and is going for quadruple aviation factories. And we can see that there's going to be mass dragonflies on the battlefield already. As to how yellow was able to build so many things so soon is really beyond me. It's really quite ridiculous. We can see that yellow is securing those resources on the battlefield, getting those extra resources. We can see that red is still HQ3, going for the HQ3 ground army. Looks like yellow's got a mix of dragonflies with porcupines and infantry, so we're going to need to be careful here. Bullet's going to get a couple anti-air towers down as a precaution. Looks like yellow got a scout onto my base here, so I'm going to try and pressure red with my ground troops, but here comes the yellow player. This is a huge attack from the yellow player. We see porcupines, dragonflies, and infantry mixed together, and we can see that Bullet is in huge trouble. Bullet only has Vertex to defend with, and there's a ton of porcupines in the area. So Bullet's got a couple hammer tanks as well, but that's not going to cut it. I need to get over there and save Bullet, or it's going to be game over. Hawks are dishing out damage against my ground units. My ground units trying to make their way over to Bullet's base to help him defend. We can see that these dragonflies are continuing to dish out steady damage against Bullet. Bullet hasn't lost any of his critical production structures yet, but he is starting to lose some of his infrastructure here. Here comes my ground army, a couple hammer tanks showing up, and a cyclone, so I'm starting to stream in units. Here comes a couple fire assaults as well, and now here comes the cavalry. Tons of typhoons in play here on my end, and we can see that this is a full ground army now. Gold air raid boost gets thrown on, and now we are able to move in to defend Bullet's base successfully. Hawks are coming in from the red player, but they are taking some heavy fire from my typhoons, and my typhoons are going to finish off all of those hawks very nicely. Meanwhile, my hammer tanks are moving in onto the base, and we're going to be able to clean up the last bits of the yellow player's attack force. So with that, we were able to successfully defend Bullet's base. So I'm going to keep some units by Bullet's base just in case. I'm also producing my own ground units. So I'm going to move my army now, trying to see if I can put some pressure onto either the red player or the yellow player. And we can see that yellow is now going to launch another attack. This time a ton of dragonflies in play here, mix of infantry and porcupines. So this is a very popular mix by resistance players. Meanwhile, on my end, I'm trying to secure the large resource container. I've got plenty of ground troops though to fight it out with red, and we can see Bullet is under heavy fire here. Dragonflies putting pressure onto Bullet's base. Those porcupines are zoning out the vertex, so I need to move back in with my ground troops. Meanwhile, my units are putting enough pressure on red that red does not want to commit to a full attack just yet. Grenadiers are now raining fire onto Bullet's base. I've got a couple torrents in play though, dishing out some heavy splash damage against the ground units for yellow. And we can see that yellow's attack force is losing power rapidly, but yellow does have some dragonflies in the back of the base. Meanwhile, I've secured some extra resources on my end, so this is going to help me with unit production and potentially teching up if I need to tech up. So my units are now moving in, trying to take care of these dragonflies and push the yellow player out of Bullet's base. So we've been able to successfully defend Bullet's base once again, but Bullet is steadily taking casualties here. So it looks like Bullet is going to transition to a ground army instead, and I think that's a good move on Bullet's end. So Bullet's actually going to try to build their base towards my base. You can see Dragonfly is trying to scout the map there. I'm going to move on to the yellow player and put some pressure here. And here we go, Torrents firing onto the Avia factory there. My Zeus tanks are now moving in. And look at this, we got a couple Dragonflies moving in. And looks like I have awoken the Hornet's Nest. There is a ton of Dragonflies here. And I just do not have enough anti-air to counter these Dragonflies. I've cleaned up 2 Avia factories though. So that's going to temporarily cut Yellow's production. But this is not looking good at all for my ground troops. They are going to get shredded by these Dragonflies. So I'm going to attempt to retreat. I'm leaving my Torrents behind. I don't want the Torrents anymore. I've also left my Typhoons behind. So now I'm attempting to see if I can save some of my Zeus tanks. Every Zeus tank is going to count here. I've also gone HQ5 during this time, just so I can have enough ground units to both defend my base and defend Bullet as needed. So Bullet's starting to get a standing ground army here. I've got some fire assaults, tanks, and shield generators mixed together. I'm also producing some Typhoons to make sure I have a counter for those Dragonflies. Bullet is also going for the triple special vehicle factory. Here comes a Leviathan from red, and yellow's coming in with the Dragonflies. So we're trying to fire onto the Leviathan, and there's the tactical nuke from the Leviathan. I had the shield generator and a gold air raid boost. I was able to minimize the damage, but I still took some damage there. We are going to be able to clean up that Leviathan nicely. Here comes a Dragonfly from the resistance side, trying to get a scout onto Bullet. And here comes some Albatross bombers from the red player. So red is definitely HQ4 at this time. Here comes a huge attack from the resistance side. Resistance side now making a big push, trying to see if they can break Bullet. So Bullet tells me to attack. This is our time to commit. Bullet's going to try and hold the line here while I go and attack the red player. It's a little bit of a gamble here, but if I can take out the red player and Bullet can hold out, we can make this into a 1v2. So here we go now. My tanks are moving in. Meanwhile, yellow still trying to push their assault onto Bullet. Bullet is spamming units as fast as possible. My Zeus tanks are just steamrolling through the red player's base. Red trying to produce more Jaguar tanks and anti-armor to counter. We can see that the aviation from red is trying to dish out damage against my units. I've got a ton of Typhoons in play here to support my Zeus tanks. Bullet is going to retreat into his base to try and regroup. Meanwhile, my Zeus tanks, supported by the shield generator, are just ripping apart this red player's base. Yellow has pushed Bullet back into his own base, and now Bullet trying to hold the line here. Grenadiers are just pouring in from the yellow side. Yellow's got some Porcupines mixed in as well. My Zeus tanks are going straight for the tier 4 headquarters. We can see those Albatross bombers trying to dish out damage against my ground units. I'm trying to keep my units moving as best as possible. And we can see that yellow's still trying to push, but Bullet is still holding on steady. Looks like the Albatross is going to try and dish out damage against some of Bullet's units. In the meantime, I've just taken out the airfield and the headquarters, so no more unit production for the red player. Here we go now. Bullet trying to defend these last few Grenadiers. Looks like yellow is starting to lose steam with their attack. My units, on the other hand, we're doing a great job just cleaning up this red player's base. My Zeus tanks have now moved on to the last bits of red's base here. I've got tons of Typhoons in the area, so there's no way for yellow to hit me without taking some heavy casualties. So we're cleaning up the last bits of infrastructure. Bullet, meanwhile, gathering units to try and defend his base and potentially make a push. So now we're going to go ahead and start to move on to the yellow player's base. I've got a full army headed straight for the yellow player's base. Let's see what yellow's got to defend with. And we can see that yellow's got some structures here. No defensive buildings yet. We see that Avia factories have been rebuilt by the yellow player. Triple Dragonflies coming out of the factories there. shield generator is going to activate, and here we go. Mass dragonflies coming in to try and fight it out with my units, but I've got a ton of typhoons in play here. My Zeus tanks are taking care of the factories while the typhoons take care of the dragonflies, and we are just slugging it out on the battlefield here, but yellow is rapidly losing dragonflies. I'm also taking some pretty good casualties here. Going to throw on a gold attack boost here. Here comes Bullet moving in with a full ground army. And at this point, it's pretty much good game. Yellow is going to self-destruct. Alright, hope you all enjoyed this really exciting battle. We will see you in the next one. Good luck with your battles until then.